Good morning, everyone. I hope and pray that you are fine wherever you are. I want to first kindly to request you to subscribe to this platform before you watch this video. Now, after doing that, I welcome you again to another session of Africa. Now, for those who have been watching my videos and for those who have been following my discussions, DR Congo has been a concern to me. I am not concerned about the plenty of minerals in DR Congo, but I am concerned about the increasing number of civilian deaths. I am concerned about the increasing foreign domination of Congo, and I am concerned about the role of the Congolese government in ending the ongoing war. Now, for those who read history and for those who are acquainted with the information about Africa and the world, you will understand that the war in DR Congo started in 1996. And in one of my videos that I posted sometimes back, I noted that more than 6 million civilians have been killed in DR Congo since 1996. And amid these killings, I noted that the US is in Congo. I also noted that China is in Congo. And these two prominent world governments are in Congo to fulfill their national interests. I noted in that video that I discussed that the United States alone gets around, let me say, China and the United States, they exploit minerals in billions, and they export billions of minerals from DR Congo. And these happenings are ongoing and have been recorded when many civilians in DR Congo are dying. Just recently, can I say last week or this week? Recently, just some few days ago, it was reported that 40 civilians in DR Congo had been killed in just 3 days. And yet, there is a functional government in DR Congo. Recently, just some, I don't know, 3 days ago, I read an article that noted that the government of DR Congo have signed a new mining deal with the UAE. This mining deal comes at a time when Congo is in crisis. The mining deal comes at a time when many civilians are being killed in DR Congo. And remember, I have said just some few minutes ago that the war in Congo has killed more than 6 million people. With these figures, and with the government going with normal business, I must ask very hard-hitting questions about the case of DR Congo. First of the question will go to the government of DR Congo, led by President Tshisekedi. Another question will go to the African Unity or African Union, the Union of African Governments. Another question will go to Brazzaville Foundation. And my last question and my last submission will go to Africans as a whole, not only Africans in Congo. Now, one of my concerns and one of the questions that I will submit to the president and the government of DR Congo is as follows. Between profits accrued from mining, and citizens, innocent citizens. What is important? I must ask the president and the government of DR Congo, between minerals, between profits and innocent lives, which is more important? In my perspective, I believe that lives are more important than profits. But in the case of DR Congo, from what I have seen, from what I read, and from what I see on news media, the government of DR Congo has prioritized profits over the lives of innocent Congolese. Many people continue to die in DR Congo. Many civilians are being killed each and every day. And the government is still signing deals, mineral deals, mining deals with foreign governments. In this perspective, I see a government that is committed in making profits over protecting citizens. I want to urge the president of DR Congo that innocent lives are more important than profits. The priority should be enhancing security and saving the Congolese, the innocent Congolese. The priority should be ensuring that no Congolese flees the country because of conflict. If security is maintained, then I think mining and profits can be effective. Exploitation of these minerals can be effective if peace is maintained. I believe that the priority in this case, the priority for the government of DR Congo should be enhancing security in the country and protecting innocent lives. I have a second question, and this question goes to African Union. Over the years, the African Union has been a platform, I can say a perfect platform for African governments to discuss their issues. It has provided a perfect platform for African governments to solve African problems. I am informed and I am acquainted with the information that the African Union has stepped up efforts to ensure that the war in Congo ends, but to no avail. African governments through the African Union have sponsored delegations to DR Congo to help mediate the situation. And amid these talks, and with such intervention, nothing has been achieved. I want to say nothing has been achieved because news reports are full with the death of innocent civilians in Congo each and every day. Yet we have an African Union. You remember the founding fathers when they were agitating for the establishment of African Union and emphasizing the need for African unity in the 1963 conference in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They noted that one of the primary objectives, one of the primary roles of the African Union should be solving African problems. I want to say that the African Union has failed Congo. And I want to say that the African Union has failed Africans. I want to urge African governments, and I want to urge independent governments in Africa, that the war in Congo should be a priority. All governments of the 55 African countries must make it a priority to ensure that DR Congolese are safe. They must ensure that the African Union is resourced. The African Union is adequately resourced to ensure that the war in DR Congo ends. Remember, the government of DR Congo is fighting against more than 122 rebel groups. And I believe the government of DR Congo cannot fight these rebel groups alone. It requires the support of other African countries. And I just want to refer to a statement that was delivered by the former Prime Minister of Algeria, that is Ahmed Ben Bella, which he encouraged African governments, he encouraged African countries and African presidents to ensure that there is no war within African borders. Ben Bella said, although there are problems, in particular with regard to the security of countries such as the Congo and Guinea, which border on the crisis areas, it is our duty to examine them and to ensure that our solidarity with these countries is effective. African governments have a duty to revamp the dying African Union, Organization of African Unity, OAU, which has failed in my view. OAU has failed to protect Africa. OAU has failed to solve Africa's problems. The African Union has failed to end wars in Africa. I want to urge the Organization of African Unity to ensure that the war in DR Congo ends. I want to urge the OAU to marshal all African governments, to engage all African presidents in ensuring that the war in DR Congo ends. My third concern, I have an interest in the Brazzaville Foundation. You remember that Brazzaville Foundation is a non-profit organization which operates to ensure that there is a security in Africa. I want to inform my viewers that Brazzaville Foundation sponsored a delegation of African presidents to help solve the Russia-Ukraine war. And I want to repeat that. The Brazzaville Foundation sponsored a peace delegation to help mediate in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. African presidents were sent to Russia and Ukraine via Poland sometimes last month, and the president of Comoros, president of Zambia, president of Uganda, president of South Africa, president of, if I don't forget, just a few seconds. Yes, the president of Comoros, the president of South Africa, president of Egypt, president of Senegal, president of Congo Brazzaville, Zambia and Uganda were sent to help mediate the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Sponsored by who? Brazzaville Foundation. I see an irony in this case. The Brazzaville Foundation is very quick. The Brazzaville Foundation is very ready and willing to sponsor a delegation to help solve a foreign war. Sponsoring a delegation to help solve a foreign war. Yet, DR Congo is burning. Yet, millions are dying in DR Congo. I don't want to state that the Brazzaville Foundation has done nothing to help solve the Congo crisis. I want to assume that to some extent the Brazzaville Foundation has done something, has taken some steps to ensure that the war in DR Congo ends. But I want to challenge the Brazzaville Foundation. Solving the war in DR Congo must be, and I emphasize, must be a priority. One of the first few steps that must be done before engaging in foreign missions is to ensure that Africa is secure. The Brazzaville Foundation has a duty. It has a duty to first secure the DR Congo problem. The Brazzaville Foundation has a duty to ensure that the ongoing crisis in DR Congo ends. Now, I must challenge the Brazzaville Foundation and encourage the managers at the institution that the war in DR Congo must be prioritized. You cannot sponsor a delegation to go and help solve a foreign crisis, yet an African country is burning. With these statements and with these arguments, my third challenge goes to the presidents of Rwanda and Uganda. Why am I singling out the presidents of Rwanda and Uganda? For those who are informed of the Congo War, for those who are informed of the ongoing Congo War and its history, you will understand that Rwanda and Uganda played critical roles in the start of the Congo crisis. Rwanda and Uganda played very central roles in the first Congo crisis. You remember when the war in Congo started, it started with the attempt by Rwandan government to pursue rebels who they perceived were a threat to the presidency of Paul Kagame. You also remember the RDF, that is one of the rebel groups in operating in DR Congo, originated from Uganda. These two governments joined the governments of Rwanda and Uganda joined Angola, Chad, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Sudan, Central African Republic, Tanzania, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Eritrea in waging war against DR Congo in the first Congo War. I want to urge the president of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and I want to urge the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, to ensure that the ongoing Congo crisis ends, because they actively participated in starting this war. They must also actively participate in ending this war. They must, and I say they must, actively ensure that the ongoing war in DR Congo ends, because they actively participated in starting this war. Rwanda and Uganda should lead efforts in mediation in DR Congo. They should lead efforts in ensuring that the civilians in DR Congo are safe. And with these arguments, I turn to my fourth concern, which is the role of Africans and what Africa can do in the DR Congo case. I first want to state that the perfect solution to DR Congo lies within Africa. Africa has the capacity and Africa has the power to solve its own problems. In solving the DR Congo war, one of the steps and one of the interventions that must be taken seriously is a careful connection with the foreign governments. Currently, the DR Congo has allowed the United States to operate within its borders. DR Congo has allowed China to operate within its borders. And DR Congo has allowed the UAE to operate within its borders. These governments are in Congo to exploit minerals. These governments are in Congo to fulfill their national interests. You remember His Majesty Mwami Mwambutsa IV, that was the king of Burundi in 1963, stated, and I quote, "On this account, the African must fight unceasingly against the appetites of foreign domination, whether called colonialism, neocolonialism, or imperialism. It is our present task to unmask and mercilessly to stigmatize every slightest sign of colonialism aiming to undermine the independence of the African states." Mwambutsa also said, and this is very important, "Moreover, whenever the interests of the colonizer are in conflict with the interests of the colonized, and that is not a rare case, troubles arise of the kind which threw Algeria into mourning for more than 8 years, the Congo from 1959 onwards, and still trouble Angola." The problem of Africa is foreigners. The problem of Africa is the uncareful, unguided, uninformed cooperation with foreigners. Africa has been made to believe that it cannot survive without foreigners. Africa has been made to believe that it is poor, and Africa has been made to believe that its only survival lies in a connection with foreign countries. Africa has been made to believe that it can only survive when it maintains trade relations with Russia, trade relations with China, trade relations with let me say, United States, trade relations with the Arab world. I want to urge Africans that Africa is precious. Africa is important, and Africa can do it alone. We are superior as Africans, not inferior as we have been made to believe. And DR Congo has adopted the inferiority complex that is killing Africa. DR Congo believes that its only survival lies in a strong connection with foreigners, and that is why you can see China present in DR Congo, you can see the United States present in DR Congo, and you can see the UAE present in DR Congo, mainly to exploit minerals. These governments are not in Congo to help solve the war. These governments are not in Congo to protect innocent civilians. These governments are in Congo to fulfill their national interests, to exploit the minerals of Congo. With this said, Africans must understand that a disconnection with foreigners is a requirement to survive. And if necessary, if it must be, a careful cooperation with the foreigners must be done. You remember, Africa must understand that its enemies are happy to see it balkanized, and a divided Africa will always be a dominated Africa. The case of DR Congo is not about the war. The case of DR Congo is about the conflicting interests between innocent civilians, the Congolese, and the foreign governments. That is why you can see the foreign governments, such as the Wagner groups, ready to kill civilians who oppose their mining rights. I urge Africans, and I urge innocent Congolese, that you must put your governments to task. Put your governments to task. Question why they are engaging with foreigners. Question them on why they are interested in making profits over ensuring security. Question the nature of their involvements with these foreign governments. I want to tell Africans that we can do it. And I want to tell the Congolese that we can do it. Peace can be achieved in Congo. And this can be done with the efforts of Africans themselves. Remember, the Congolese should remember that they are the ones who put the government in power. And they are the same people who can remove the governments in power. If the government is not fulfilling their interests, if the government is not meeting their objectives, then the people of Congo, the people of DR Congo have a responsibility to ensure that this government is removed. Africa must unite, and Africa must be ready to solve its own problems. Africa cannot invite the United States, Africa cannot invite China, and Africa cannot invite Russia. Africa cannot invite the Arab world to help solve its problems. Congo must understand that the United States will not solve its problems. China will not solve its problems. Russia will not solve its problems. The United Nations will not solve its problems. And the Arab world will not solve its problems. The problems in DR Congo can only be solved by Africans and Africa. That must be understood. In ending my discussion, I want to refer us to a statement that was made by His Excellency Leopold Sedar Senghor, that was the President of the Republic of the Senegal in 1963. And Leopold Sedar Senghor urged Africans, and he said, "Whatever the difficulties of the undertaking, I am convinced that we can succeed if we want to. But to feel that want, we must think of, accept, and be conscious of what we have in common, our being African." Africans have a duty to help DR Congo. and African leaders have a responsibility to ensure that the ongoing war in Congo ends. African Union, the Brazzaville Foundation, individual African presidents must unite for one purpose: to secure Africa. They must unite to fulfill the dreams of our founding fathers. They must unite to ensure that the war in Congo ends. And they must unite to ensure that Africans are safe. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for always coming back and watching my discussions. I pray that you watch this video and, most importantly, subscribe to this platform and share this discussion. Thank you and have a very good day.